Kamala Harris has picked Minnesota Governor Tim Walz to be her running mate in the 2024 presidential election.
The World Health Organization, WHO, warns that the COVID-19 infections are surging globally, including at the Paris Olympics. Political instability threatens Bulgaria's ongoing issues and dossier with the European Union.
Kamala Harris has confirmed her running mate in the 2024 presidential election will be Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. Harris praised Walz's record as governor, writing he's delivered for working families like his in a post on X. Walz, who grew up in a small town in Nebraska, was a social studies teacher, a football coach, and a union member before he got into politics. He ran for governor in 2018 and defeated Hennepin County Commissioner Jeff Johnson by more than 11 points. He governed through the COVID-19 pandemic and the protests that emerged in the wake of the murder of George Floyd. Harris will introduce Walz at a rally on Tuesday evening in Philadelphia.
COVID-19 infections are surging globally, including at the Paris Olympics. According to the WHO, the virus is unlikely to decline anytime soon.
The virus is circulating in all countries. Data from our Sentinel-based systems across 84 countries reports that the percent of positive tests for SARS-CoV-2 has been rising over the last several weeks. Overall, test positivity is above 10%, but this fluctuates by region. In Europe, percent positivity is over 20%.
The UN Health Agency is also warning that more severe variants of the coronavirus may soon be on the horizon. The Olympic Games have not been spared.
In recent months, regardless of the season, many countries have experienced surges of COVID-19, including at the Olympics. Currently, there are at least 40 athletes who have tested positive.
The WHO is urging governments to strengthen their vaccination campaigns, making sure that the highest risk groups get vaccinated every 12 months.
At least 8 people have been injured after a rocket attack on the center of Kharkiv, according to the regional prosecutor's office. 25 cars and at least 15 buildings were also damaged in the attack, the office said.
О 9 годині 55 хвилин було нанесено ракетний удар по центральній частині міста, а саме по Шевченківському району. Зараз продовжується збір інформації про травмованих, оскільки дуже тут щільна цивільна забудова, багато закладів і освіти, і медичних закладів, і житлових будинків.
It comes as the governor of Kherson reported a Russian drone dropped explosives on the outskirts of the city, injuring at least 5 people. Meanwhile, the Russian Ministry of Defense has released footage of what it says shows the crews of Ka-52 helicopters striking a temporary deployment point of the Ukrainian armed forces.
It is a rare public display of Russian secret agents. The Russian state television interviewed 2 former spies who have returned to Moscow as part of the biggest prisoner exchange since the Cold War. Prior to their arrest in Slovenia in 2022, the couple were posing as Argentine citizens and allegedly had been using Slovenia as their base since 2017.
Нам угрожали, что аргентинская сторона якобы хотела забрать наших детей, тоже, что дети могут быть отданы в прием в другую семью. Но мы ощущали, что спецслужба Словении, она делала тоже все возможное, чтобы сохранить, оставить детей в Словении, чтобы мы были вместе.
The West released Russian spies as well as a convicted Russian assassin, while Russia released journalists, a former U.S. Marine, and political activists. One of the political activists released by Russia is Ilya Yashin, who was serving time in jail for criticizing Russia's war in Ukraine. Upon his release to Germany, the Russian opposition politician thanked his supporters on a live stream.
Для меня очень важно доносить свою точку зрения и вести антивоенное просвещение среди граждан России, которые остаются в России.
The chief of the Committee to Protect Journalists says that the release of journalists from Russian captivity does not mean that press freedom in Russia is improving.
Our concern is that this doesn't set a precedent for future governments to feel that they can simply take innocent journalists, for example, imprison them and use them as bargaining chips for the release of prisoners abroad.
She adds that Russia was the fourth largest jailer of journalists worldwide in 2023, making it one of the most restrictive environments for journalists globally.
Iran and Russia have agreed to fast-track their friendship, according to political officials that attended a meeting in Tehran on Tuesday. Secretary of Russia's Security Council, Sergei Shoigu, met with Iran's new president, Masoud Pezeshkian, amid increasing hostilities in the Middle East. In a document provided by the Iranian government, Pezeshkian referred to Russia as a friend, with a Russian delegate emphasizing the need to speed up the build of the North-South Corridor, an international transport hub connecting the countries. Pezeshkian also spoke about Gaza, describing the assassination of Hamas's top leader, Ismail Haniyeh, as a violation of international law and stating Israel will receive a, quote, response for its crimes. The talks come as the US and its allies work to prevent a wider regional war after Israel killed Iran-allied militants. The European Commission also called for calm in the region, with the spokesperson telling reporters in Brussels its leaders continue to work to defuse the tensions.
China says it has launched a rocket carrying 18 satellites in an effort to enhance its presence in space. The Long March 6 carrier rocket was launched from North China's Shaanxi province. China's government's news agency says the rocket has now safely reached its pre-programmed orbit. It's the latest triumph in China's space program, which in June became the first to bring back rocks from the far side of the moon.
When Leon Marchand dives, France holds its breath. The 22-year-old French Olympic swimmer won 4 gold medals and 1 bronze medal at the Paris Olympics, a record for France.
Non, je n'ai pas pris conscience de tout ce que j'ai fait encore. Je sais ce que j'ai fait dans l'eau. Je sais ce que j'ai fait en termes de performance. J'ai aussi beaucoup de statistiques qui sont arrivées, comme quoi voilà, il n'y a aucun Français qui avait fait ça avant. Donc forcément, c'est assez incroyable de savoir ça. Mais c'est vrai que je n'ai pas encore, je pense, touché les pieds sur terre encore. Je vais m'en rendre compte cette semaine, je pense.
In the fan zones and behind the screens, the extraordinary performances of the 4-time Olympic champion give rise to scenes of joy.
C'est vrai que j'étais bien dans ma bulle pour le coup. J'avais beaucoup de courses, donc ça m'a permis vraiment de rester focus sur la récupération, sur essayer de dormir le plus possible et d'être prêt le lendemain, tout simplement. Je crois que j'ai fait 14 courses en tout. Donc j'étais vraiment focus, j'étais dans ma bulle et j'ai pas peur d'en sortir. Je pense que je vais en profiter, c'est des moments incroyables dans une vie de sportif.
After the Tokyo Olympics, Leon joined coach Bob Bowman in Arizona, former mentor to Michael Phelps. His legendary flows have been particularly praised.
J'ai envie de dire merci papa, maman, tout simplement. J'ai été doté de... C'est assez incroyable, mais mon corps se régénère très rapidement. Alors c'est aussi parce que j'ai bossé très dur et que quand je récupère, je nage pas lentement, je nage très vite, à une allure assez élevée pour pouvoir justement réduire mon lactate.
After the Olympic excitement, Leon Marchand says he wants to take a vacation. After that, he will be training to do more exploits ahead of the Los Angeles Games.
The black mussels produced by Romania are exclusively wild, harvested from great depths and rocky areas. Although they are as good as the Bulgarian ones, they are smaller and far fewer.
La Bulgaria aici n-am mâncat.
Mi se pare foarte rău. Nu e normal să pescuiască și la noi, să mâncăm și noi tot pescuite de la noi, adică de ce să le importăm de la Bulgari?
De unde procurați coicile pe care le serviți la restaurant?
Păi acum, momentan, cea mai mare parte sunt din Bulgaria și încercăm noi să facem cu propriile noastre puteri, să culegem din Marea Neagră, din zona noastră, dar au apărut o felul de probleme, că marea noastră nu știu ce are, că nu știu ce s-au dezvoltat, nu știu ce bacterii, nu știu ce nebacterii și ei ne împing către bulgari, ceea ce nu mi se pare chiar ok.
Matei Daciu has been waiting years for the green light from the authorities to be able to grow Romanian mussels in the sea near the restaurant he owns. He has invested in storage spaces and bivalve sand cleaning devices which are lying unused.
Deci avem o stație de denisipare, tot așa, n-am inventat eu, Italia, certificată tot. Scoicile ar fi trebuit luate din mare, puse aici, denisipate, curățate, analizate și plecate direct pe masa turiștilor.
Cât a costat investiția?
Băi, și de 15.000 de euro, chiar mai mult. Totul este extraordinar.
Deci, practic, totul e pregătit, doar legea nu e.
Da.
Romanians have been eating Bulgarian mussels for a long time. In fact, they often go directly to Bulgaria to get them.
Vestitele ferme de midii de la Dalboca sunt o adevărată comoară pentru comercianți. Scoicile sunt culese direct din mare, sunt aduse apoi cu barca lângă restaurant direct în văzul clienților care le consumă apoi cu poftă. Mulți dintre cei care vin să mănânce în restaurantele bulgărești sunt români, amatori de pește proaspăt și scoici din Marea Neagră.
Without an agreement between the authorities and traders, the Romanian seaside risks losing tourists who, in search of good seafood, will have to cross the border into Bulgaria.